Hello friends, this is Ralph and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are taking a look at the mixer and reverb section of the Behringer 2600 synthesizer, so stay tuned. Judging from some of the comments under my 2600 synth tutorials, I have come to the conclusion that there are still some misconceptions about the reverb and mixer section of the 2600 synthesizer, and especially beginners are having difficulties grasping the full potential and sonic possibilities of it. Therefore, here it is, my tutorial for the mixer and reverb section of the Behringer 2600 synthesizer. This also applies to the original ARP 2600 and other 2600 synth clones. By the way, if you are new here, please be informed that on my YouTube channel you find a plethora of tutorials for the Behringer 2600 synthesizer, which also apply to the original ARP 2600 and other 2600 synth clones. Therefore, please hit that subscribe button and do all those wonderful things like activating the notification bell and sharing and liking my videos. And now, without any further ado, let's jump over to the mixer and reverb section of the Behringer 2600 Grey Mini. Alright friends, we are looking here at the Behringer 2600 Grey Mini, and please be informed that I have connected an Arturia KeyStep keyboard controller to the Behringer 2600 via MIDI. So now let's talk about the mixer and reverb section of the 2600 synthesizer. We have two pre-wired inputs into the mixer. I also call it the final mixer, and that is the VCF and the VCA. Let us start with the VCA. So I bring up the slider here, the volume slider of the VCA, and let me just give you a brief explanation about the signal path. We have three oscillators going into the VCF. The VCF is being controlled by the ADSR. Then the VCF output is going into the VCA. The VCA volume is controlled by the AR envelope, and now the VCA signal is going into the final mixer. So I play some keys on the keyboard here. Alright, and now let's bring up here the VCF signal, and I play some notes on the keyboard again. And it seems that this is behaving like the VCA, but this is not the case. As I bring up here the filter frequency, we hear a droning sound droning on, and that is because we don't have any volume control over the VCA, because we are running the VCF directly into the final mixer. That droning sound is causing some confusion among beginners who think that there might be something wrong with their synthesizer. There's also another reason for causing this droning sound. If you are a beginner and you do not know what I'm talking about, then I invite you to watch one of my videos, which is called 5 Common Beginner Mistakes, and I put the link to that video into the video description below. But now let us move on. With these two slots, I can override the pre-wired connection, and that is what we are going to do now. So we take here the pulse output of oscillator number 1 and plug it into the VCF slot. And now the pre-wired connection is being overridden by here now this new cable connection. We do the same thing here with oscillator number 2. We take the sawtooth output and plug it here into the VCA slot. And now, as I bring up here the sliders, you hear the two oscillators. So the only control we have over the volume now is with these two sliders in the final mixer. I also bring up the reverb a little bit. Okay, so one thing I also want to tell you at this point is here the output. I'm sending the output to my external mixer mixer device, and I also have the chance to pan the sound here from left to right. Alright, so we unplug this connection, and now I want to show you another thing, and that is we take the VCF output, we plug a cable into this slot here, and that means that the VCF output is not being sent to the outputs here, but instead we send this VCF signal back into the audio inputs of the VCF. So, and now here what is happening. So I bring up the VCA slider, that we hear something when I play a key on the keyboard. And now I bring up here the feedback signal from the VCF output. The effect is very subtle and gentle, but you can hear some kind of distorted sound and a feedback loop. Alright, so instead of sending the filter output back into the audio inputs, we can also take the filter output and send it into the control section of the VCF. And that means with the filter output we are controlling now, or modulating the filter frequency. Now listen. This gives us a more distorted, more brutal sound. So you can go really wild with these feedback sounds. Alright, so that's it for the filter feedback. Alright, before I start explaining all the other slots, I want to give you some basic information about how the signal flows through the mixer and into the reverb section, and then going to the final outputs. Okay, so I have brought the VCA up here in the final mixer. I'm playing some keys on the keyboard. And now this signal, the sum of the mixer, is being sent to the reverb circuit. That's also a pre-wired connection. So I bring up the reverb. So you can hear the stereo reverb. The stereo effect is being achieved by phase inversion. So the left channel and the right channel are phase inverted, and that's according to the design of the original ARP 2600. Okay, anyway, so the next slot here is the reverb out. You can catch the reverb signal of the right channel and route it somewhere else. But here now I have the mixer output and the reverb, and that signal is being sent to the final outputs here. And you can pan the signal from left to right. I'm using the 1/4 inch output jacks to send the signal, the stereo signal, to an external mixer device. But you can also use these jacks to send it to a PA system, to speakers. And here, these 3.5 millimeter jacks, they can be used to send the output to maybe another 2600 synthesizer or to your Eurorack system for further processing. It's totally up to you. Okay, now let's talk about the different slots here, and we start with this jack here. That's the mixer jack. So when I plug in a cable here, the connection from the mixer is broken. So that means the mixer output is not going directly to the final outputs anymore. So when I play now a sound on the keyboard, you don't hear anything. When I bring up here now the reverb, you can hear the reverb output. Remember, so we still have a pre-wire connection from the mixer going to the reverb section. So let's bring in another signal now. Let's use the noise generator. I take the noise generator output, and now I'm playing some keys on the keyboard again. And you can hear that the noise generator signal is being mixed with the reverb. So I can pan the signal from left to right, from right to left. Okay, so let's move on to the next slots now. I'm going to use the left input, and that means play some keys on the keyboard. So you can hear that the left input signal, that's the noise generator, is mixed with the mixer output, with the reverb output, but is panned to panned hard left. And now we can do this with the right input, so everything is vice versa. Remember, the signal in the right input is panned hard right. So this will not change when you use the pan slider. The noise generator will stay on the right side. So, and now I want to show you how you can just use the reverb sound for some, spooky sound design. So I play now here a sequence, and I bring up both reverb channels. So you can hear the reverb. Once again, I'm panning from left to right. Alright, so, and what I'm doing now is I take the right reverb output and plug it here into this mixer slot. And now we are hearing just the reverb output, because this slot is breaking the dry mixer output to the final output jacks. Okay. Let's bring in an external delay. Now I want to show you another patch demonstrating what you can do with a reverb of the 2600. So I have prepared here a little ring modulator patch. If you want to learn more about the ring modulator, please check out my detailed tutorial about it. I put the link into the video description below. So let's listen to the dry signal first. Okay. And now I bring up the reverb. So this is the dry signal from the ring modulator being mixed with a reverb. And now again, we just want to do the same thing as before. We are just using the reverb. So I take the reverb output and plug it here into this mixer slot. And now let's bring in an external delay. I would like to come back to the pre-wired VCF connection to the final mixer. So you can do some really cool things with that. Bear in mind that the original ARP 2600 was launched back in 1971. And back in those days, many artists were using synthesizers and the components of the synthesizers for external instruments. So here for the 2600, people were running their organs, their guitars through the filter section, through the VCA section. For this, you can use the envelope follower and the preamp. I have made a detailed tutorial about this module, so I put the link to that video into the description below. If that is something that interests you, check it out. Okay, anyway, I want to demonstrate how you can use the 2600 for an external guitar. Since I cannot play guitar, I have prepared a guitar riff, a little guitar track in my digital audio workstation. I am connecting this sound. Now I'm playing this sound from my iPhone, and I'm running the iPhone output here into the preamp. Yeah, and the preamp is going into the filter. And as I explained before, the filter is going through a pre-wire connection directly into the mixer. So now let's hear the guitar. UFO a little bit. Okay, my friends, I hope you found this video helpful and that you gained some new insights about the mixer and reverb section of the 2600 synth. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. Before I leave you now with some more sound samples, I want to thank you for watching. I hope to see you again in my next video. Until then, take care, stay safe, peace, and auf Wiedersehen. That's German for goodbye. Ciao for now.